Welcome back, Helldivers. Buckle up. Today, we're locked and loaded for a deep dive into all the recent buzz circulating through our ranks. You know, the scuttlebutt about potential reinforcements, strange happenings on the battlefield, and even whispers of the Illuminate making a comeback. We've been combing through the reports you sent in, separating the signal from the noise.
Absolutely. We're talking straight from high command, down in the trenches where the action is, and how all of this intel impacts your next tour of duty, diver. Your dedication to liberty deserves the clearest picture we can provide, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. There's been a tidal wave of anticipation, you could say, about fresh troops touching down and maybe even a return of the Illuminate. All those theories flying around the comms channels, you've seen them, I've seen them.
It's remarkable, isn't it, how every little bit of info gets dissected, scrutinized. The Helldiver community is really on the ball, always looking for clues about what's coming next. A testament to their dedication, I'd say.
Absolutely. But, well, it seems some of us might have gotten a little ahead of ourselves this time. Community Manager Baskinator, she felt it was necessary to step in and clarify things, even went on the Helldivers Discord to say, FYI, before you all get too worked up, there's no update coming today. So straight from Super Earth Command, those rumors about immediate reinforcements, gotta say, they're just that, rumors. And this brings up an interesting point, doesn't it? We're all hungry for an edge in the fight, craving new tools, new strategies, but Super Earth has to prioritize, allocate resources strategically, and, well, sometimes that means waiting a bit longer than we'd like.
A delicate balance indeed. The relentless pressure we face from the enemies of managed democracy naturally fuels this desire for immediate advancements. But that's where the Ministry of Truth comes in. Clear communication, verified intel keeps us focused, prevents unnecessary disappointment, shall we say.
Yeah, exactly. She had to point out that the BAFTAs, well, that wasn't exactly the place to be, dropping bombshells about galactic strategy. Someone even asked if she was working on announcements right then and there. She said, no, not today. You can practically feel her trying to keep a lid on the hype, make sure we're focused on the here and now. Tough job keeping the troops grounded.
A vital one, nonetheless. Sticking to official channels for verified information, that's critical. Relying on speculation, no matter how well-intentioned, it can lead to misunderstandings, misinterpretations of Super Earth's plans.
And we can't forget those theories that were making the rounds. That countdown on the game board, hitting 0, people digging into planetary codes, it all felt like it was pointing to something big about to happen.
And, even though those theories didn't pan out this time, it shows how invested the Helldiver community is in this fight, in the grand narrative of galactic liberation. They're not just following orders, they're trying to understand the bigger picture. That's a truly engaged fighting force, wouldn't you say?
Right on. And let's not forget that cryptic message, "We are coming," from that Super Earth News Network broadcast. Many took that as a sure sign of the Illuminate staging a comeback. But again, no concrete dates, no confirmed deployments as of yet. Super Earth plays the long game, diver. Not every communique signals an immediate shift in the battlefield.
Absolutely. Got to distinguish between strategic objectives, long-term goals, and what boots are hitting the ground right now. That "we are coming" message, well, it could mean all sorts of things. Future engagements, perhaps, not necessarily an immediate redeployment of a familiar foe.
And it's important to remember, Diver, the community manager, she isn't the source of all this speculation. Actually, she was trying to keep it in check, even saying she was trying to stop them from hyping into the void. So stick with the facts as they come down the line and use the proper channels for feedback and questions. The community manager, she's a vital link, but she's operating under high command's direction.
Precisely. Utilizing those established channels, those protocols, ensures your concerns reach the right people, the right departments. That feedback loop, that's managed democracy in action.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. Another hot topic, especially with the recent campaigns we've been running, is our trusty super destroyers. These ships, they're the backbone of our operations, constantly pushing the limits to bring liberty to the galaxy. And, well, the idea of new upgrades, better capabilities, it's naturally on everyone's mind.
Our super destroyers, those mobile command platforms, they guarantee our control of the orbital space. Any improvements, any boost to their capabilities, it's a huge plus for our reach and effectiveness across the stars.
Right. Well, Baskinator touched on this too, saying that resource sinks have come up a lot, and of course we have lots of features we want to add to the game over time. Sounds promising, doesn't it? More firepower, more tools to bring managed democracy to every corner of the galaxy.
It does. But that key phrase there is over time. No hard promises, no deployment dates set in stone just yet. Patience. Diver, patience. In this galactic struggle, well, strategic development follows its own timeline.
You're right, you're right. And it makes me think of that old state of play directive back when the war was young. They showed a potential Tier 6 hangar upgrade, shows you those brilliant minds back in the Ministry of Development, they never stop innovating, always looking for ways to improve. But the trick, the real challenge, is integrating these new systems, making sure they enhance our strategy without creating new weaknesses, without tipping the scales in an unforeseen way.
Absolutely. Every upgrade, every new feature has to be tested rigorously. We're up against the bugs, those relentless termitas, the mechanical menace of the automatons. Got to make sure everything works together seamlessly.
Now, speaking of the long haul, there's been some chatter, about the Galactic War map itself, some wondering if there might be a reset, like starting over, a fresh push for galactic liberation.
The Galactic War, it's changed how we operate. It's a testament to Super Earth's commitment, a sustained and ever-evolving campaign to eliminate those who oppose freedom. It's about establishing a lasting peace throughout the galaxy.
And Baskinator, she addressed this head-on, saying, "Not as far as I've ever known, the switch to being a live service game means we can keep it going instead of resetting. So, this fight, this war, this is it, the one and only. This isn't a simulation. This is our reality. Every victory, every setback, it all has lasting impact. It's all connected. The pressure's always on."
It certainly raises the stakes. Every planet we liberate, every enemy soldier we neutralize, it all contributes to the grand objective.
Makes those major orders from high command even more crucial, doesn't it? No reset button means we gotta hold the line, gotta prevent those incursions from reaching Super Earth.
Absolutely. Protecting our homeworld is the ultimate objective, and this persistent war, it serves as a constant reminder. We have to work together, stay strong, prevent a disaster of unimaginable proportions.
Now, shifting our attention to the battlefield itself. Some of you out there have been reporting some, let's call it unexpected behavior with certain pieces of equipment. Those red explosive canisters, to be specific.
Anytime our standard issue gear acts up, that's a red flag. Got to investigate, figure out what's going on. Anomalies on the battlefield, they put our Helldivers at risk, disrupt our tactics.
Yeah, numerous reports, many with footage from those helmet cams showing those explosive tanks, teleporting. Imagine checking one perfectly at a bug nest, only to have it zip right back to where you threw it from. Talk about a surprise.
That's certainly not in the manual. Unpredictability like that, it throws a wrench into everything. Could even lead to friendly casualties in the heat of the moment. Stay alert, Helldivers, and think on your feet.
For now, the workaround seems to be, shoot the darn things before you use any other stratagems near them. Not ideal, but it'll minimize the risk until the brains back on Super Earth can figure out what's causing this. There's also the question of whether other deployable items, like artillery shells, are affected too. More to investigate, for sure.
The tech teams are on it, Diver. Got to get to the bottom of this, guarantee our gear is reliable, and most importantly, keep our Helldivers safe and effective out there.
Now, another question that keeps popping up, one that gets into some tricky bureaucratic territory, is the whole PSN link situation. Still a major point of discussion in the comms.
Connecting every citizen, every profile across all those systems, it's a massive undertaking. Data security, regulations, got to make sure everything's tight, protect Super Earth's network, and every citizen's privacy.
And when asked directly about the PSN link, Community Manager Baskinator said it's above her pay grade, and she's got nothing to share personally right now. Seems like this one goes all the way to the top.
Understandable. Issues like this, they get tangled up in legal stuff, logistics, even galactic politics. Not really the community manager's area of expertise. This one's for the bigwigs to sort out.
And we can't forget those regions that got disconnected a while back. There's been talk that more might follow. Makes you think, keeping everyone connected across the vastness of space? Well, it's no easy feat.
It's a big galaxy out there, Diver. Geography, infrastructure, shifting political landscapes, it all plays a part in keeping those essential Super Earth services running smoothly across every sector.
Now, on a more positive note, and speaking of keeping the citizens informed, there's been talk about ways for us, the Helldivers on the front lines, to provide feedback more directly. Someone even proposed in-mission surveys using those scannable QR codes. Pretty slick, if you ask me.
That's managed democracy in its purest form, isn't it? Direct feedback straight from the source. Gives the Ministry of Truth a clear picture of what's working, what needs tweaking, what you folks are experiencing out there.
And guess what? Community Manager Baskinator confirmed they're actually looking into this. Could be a game changer, a way to get our voices heard loud and clear, help refine our strategies and improve our effectiveness in the fight for liberty.
Imagine that real-time data coming straight from the boots on the ground. That's what we call agile response, adapting to the situation as it evolves. A direct line between the front lines and Super Earth Command, strengthening that vital connection.
Okay, now for something really interesting, I was looking through some strategic game board imagery, you could say, and I noticed something peculiar. The exosuit, the standard model, it seems to have a stratagem launcher built right into it. Now, that would be a significant upgrade, wouldn't it?
The exosuit, it's the pinnacle of Super Earth's battlefield tech. Any new capabilities, any integrated systems, they'd amplify its strengths, give our Helldivers even more options when the bullets start flying.
And it wasn't just some static image. Apparently, there's an old PSN broadcast, one of those historical retrospectives about Super Earth tech, and they showed this very feature in an animation. Seems like this idea has been floating around the Ministry of Advanced Weaponry for a while.
Interesting. So the idea has been on the table, maybe even in development for who knows how long. This new imagery, it definitely warrants further investigation.
The big question, of course, is when or even if we'll see this game changer deployed in the field. Imagine, Diver, deploying stratagems right from the suit itself. No more fumbling with grenades, freeing up that precious backpack space for other essential gear.
Talk about tactical flexibility. React to threats in a heartbeat, shift strategies on the fly, all without compromising your primary weapon systems.
I've got my own wish list for exosuit improvements, like on-the-go ammo refills, maybe a self-destruct mechanism for those situations where there's no other option, and of course that stratagem launcher. And who knows, maybe we'll even see specialized exosuits in the future, tailored for different mission types. The possibilities are endless.
Refining battlefield tech is an ongoing process. New variants, specialized capabilities for different enemies, different environments, that's what keeps us ahead of the curve.
Now back to the current campaign. The major orders still in effect, focused on repelling the Automaton invasion of Poplea. How are we doing on that front?
Koffel is a key strategic target, Diver. Taking it back disrupts the Automaton supply lines, cripples their operations in that sector. Early reports look promising, but those tin cans, they're putting up a fight.
Some sharp Helldivers have been crunching the numbers on that new DSS buff, that dynamic stratagem support enhancement, and it looks like it could significantly reduce both Eagle rearm times and exosuit cooldowns. That means more firepower, more heavy armor in the fight, more consistently.
That real-time data, those calculations from the front lines, they're essential. Tweaking those cooldowns, those rearm times, it could drastically improve our ability to stay in the fight, keep the pressure on the enemy.
If the math checks out, we're looking at Eagle rearm times dropping from 102 seconds to 87 seconds. And that lengthy exosuit cooldown slashed from a whopping 570 seconds down to a much more manageable 370 seconds. For those who like to bring the heavy metal, this is great news.
Yeah, that's a game changer. Faster deployment cycles, more frequent use of those key assets. It lets us maintain a much more aggressive posture, adapt to changing battlefield conditions on the fly.
Reports from Poplea indicate good progress. The first target is almost in our grasp, and the next objectives are well within reach. Keep pushing, Helldivers. The fate of this sector rests in your capable hands.
We're seeing the results of coordinated action, the combined might of the Helldiver Corps. Got to keep that momentum going, achieve those strategic goals, secure this sector for Super Earth.
All right, let's hear from the troops on the ground. Some of the most insightful comments you've been sharing, those voices from the front line. Helldiver Bono 622 brought up an interesting point about the situation on Meridia, that ongoing anomaly.
Those story threads, those ongoing narratives across different campaigns, they immerse us in this galaxy-wide conflict, give context to every mission we undertake. Citizen feedback on those narratives, their desire for resolution, it's valuable for Super Earth Command.
Bono 622 suggested that we might only see real progress on Meridia if it becomes a high-priority major order, with clear objectives, or if some new, terrifying Terminid variants pop out of that anomaly. It seems there's some impatience building up about that lingering mystery.
I hear you. Well-defined objectives, tangible progress, that's key for morale, especially in prolonged engagements. Understanding how the community feels about the pacing of those narrative threads, it's important for Super Earth Command.
Helldiver Arias provided a detailed analysis of the potential impact of those cooldown reductions we talked about, pointing out how the exosuit benefits much more proportionally than the Eagle stratagems. That 10-minute wait for the exosuit, yeah, that's been a tactical headache for many an armored Helldiver.
Smart analysis, no doubt. It shows how well the Helldiver community understands the fine details, the tactical nuances of our equipment, those cooldowns, and their impact. Optimizing those factors across the board, that's what keeps us ahead of the enemy.
And lastly, Helldiver Dead Rev. Well, he summed up the feelings of a lot of us who love to stomp around in that heavy armor. He's thrilled about the potential exosuit cooldown reduction, going from 10 long minutes down to a snappy 6.5. That's a lot more mechanized mayhem unleashed on the battlefield.
I can feel the excitement. The exosuit is a popular choice, and for good reason, making it available more often. Well, let's just say those bugs and bots are in for a rough time.
Now, for some updates on the hardware front. Seems the folks back at the Ministry of Development have been hard at work, tweaking weapon balance, squashing bugs, the usual routine.
Our weapons, our equipment, they got to be top-notch. Regular checkups, adjustments, and quick fixes when things go wrong. That's how we make sure our Helldivers are ready for anything.
That autocannon glitch, that's been a pain for a lot of units out there. But QA lead JoJo has confirmed a hotfix is on the way, and it's coming soon. So for those who love that heavy-duty firepower, hang in there, relief is on the way.
Super Earth takes those malfunctions seriously. A hotfix means a fast, targeted solution, no need to wait for a full-scale update. They're committed to keeping us in fighting shape.
Good news is, overall system stability is solid. Crashes are minimal, unless you're messing around with, well, let's just say unauthorized modifications. And those performance hiccups and the Torso Diver's visual glitch, they're on it. Got to keep those systems running smoothly. Got to keep the visual feed clear for optimal Helldiver performance.
Right. System stability, clear visuals, that's all part of a seamless combat experience. Got to minimize distractions when you're in the thick of it.
Now, the Eruptor. This one's sparked some fiery debate among the Helldiver community, no pun intended. Some initial confusion about how it's supposed to work. Clear communication is crucial when it comes to our weapons. Make sure everyone understands their strengths, their weaknesses, how to use them effectively.
So QA lead JoJo, he initially said that the Eruptor wasn't technically broken, but it was overperforming because the shrapnel was mostly going in one direction. He later clarified that it is designed to cause shrapnel damage up close, which can affect the user, as expected with explosives.
Yeah, the lesson here is gotta be super precise when explaining weapon mechanics. Any ambiguity can lead to frustration in the ranks, and that's the last thing we need when we're up against the bugs and the bots.
The Eruptor, in its previous iteration, it could take out a charger's abdomen with a single well-placed shot. That sparked a whole discussion about balance. Some loved its raw power, while others felt it made other anti-armor options less useful. Finding the sweet spot, making sure no single weapon dominates the battlefield, that's a constant challenge for Super Earth.
And one Helldiver specifically asked if the shrapnel was meant to be directed towards the ground on impact. Now, QA lead JoJo, he admitted he wasn't the best guy to get into the technical weeds on this, but he assured everyone that the balance team back at the Ministry of Development, they're looking into it, analyzing the data, making sure everything's working as intended.
And there was a bit of, shall we say, a spirited exchange with one Helldiver who wasn't convinced by the QA lead's initial assessment. JoJo clarified that while the weapon wasn't bugged in the strictest sense, its balance within the overall game was indeed being reviewed. Open communication, even when dealing with criticism, that's crucial for maintaining trust between Super Earth Command and the Helldiver community.
Oh, and good news on the bore height issue with some of the handheld weapons, where the bullets were coming out the side instead of the barrel. Patches in development, coming soon.
Visual accuracy is important, Diver, not just for immersion, but for clear feedback during combat. Kind of where those rounds are going, especially in a heated firefight.
And speaking of accuracy, there have been reports of some inconsistencies with the automaton gunship projectiles. Some say they're seeing more near misses, like those projectiles are veering off course. QA lead JoJo says they're looking into it. Maintaining the right level of challenge, that's all about balance, and enemy accuracy plays a big role in that.
Now, for a topic that always stirs the pot, let's talk about, well, let's just say external influences on our current operations. Seems Joel has decided to meddle in the Poplea campaign.
Yeah, Joel's back in the mix, and he's shaking things up. 2 new directives have come down the line impacting operations on Poplea. First, all resupply pods deployed on the planet will have their ammo capacity cut in half. That's a significant hit to our logistics.
Resource management is everything in warfare, Diver. Constraints on resupply that forces us to adapt, conserve ammo, and plan our engagements more carefully.
And to make things even spicier, reinforcement allocations for all Poplea operations have been slashed to just 3 per deployment. tightening the screws, making us think twice about every move we make.
Fewer reinforcements mean higher stakes, Diver. Every firefight matters. Every casualty stings more. It demands a more calculated approach, greater coordination between units.
But you know what, esteemed expert speaker? The Helldiver community, they're not backing down. They're defiant, adapting to these new challenges. We will show Joel, and anyone else who doubts us, the true grit and determination of the Helldiver Corps.
I have no doubt. Resilience, adaptability, that's what defines the Helldiver spirit. These obstacles might even make us stronger, force us to be more creative, more collaborative. Victory is never easy, but we will prevail.
Now, for a change of pace, and for those who enjoy a good tactical challenge beyond the digital battlefield, there's news about the Helldivers 2 board game being developed by Steam-Forged Games. A chance to experience the fight for managed democracy in a whole new way. Gather your comrades and strategize on a tabletop.
New ways to experience the Helldivers universe. It's a great thing. Board games, they offer a different kind of immersion, a chance to connect with fellow citizens, face those challenges together in a cooperative setting.
And we've got confirmation on the enemy types you'll be facing in this tabletop adaptation. Get ready for hordes of Terminids, everything from those screeching shriekers to the stealthy stalkers, heavily armored chargers, and even those monstrous brood commanders. And of course, the automatons are bringing their A-game too, with drop ships, gunships, those nimble scout striders, the tough berserkers, and even the mighty hulks. Sounds like an intense experience, wouldn't you say? Intense and engaging, no doubt, capturing the spirit of the digital battlefield, the challenge, the teamwork, all on a tabletop. We'll make sure to include a link for those who want to learn more about the Helldivers 2 board game. No official price tag yet, but based on similar high-quality games, well, expect a price that reflects the level of detail and the depth of the gameplay experience.
Quality components, intricate design, all of that factors into the cost.
Yeah.
But the real value, it's in the experience itself, the social interaction, the strategic challenge, the fun you'll have with your fellow citizens. So, Diver, as you can see, the fight for Super Earth is a constantly shifting landscape. We might not have those reinforcements landing just yet, but the Ministry of Truth is committed to keeping you equipped, informed, and ready for action. The Galactic War, it's unpredictable. And with individuals like Joel stirring the pot, well, we gotta stay vigilant, adapt to every curveball thrown our way.
Keep those reports coming in, Diver. Use those proper channels and never stop fighting for the ideals of managed democracy. Remember, every bug splattered, every bot deactivated, it brings us one step closer to a galaxy united under Super Earth. Stay sharp, stay informed, and fight for liberty.
And one last thought to ponder, Diver. With the Galactic War confirmed as a permanent fixture, what long-term strategies should Super Earth be considering? And how will your actions, your choices on the battlefield, ultimately determine the fate of this conflict, the fate of freedom itself?